Hey everybody, Gage here from Sharp. On Monday, we plan to post a video that we shot recently about how the finish on your blade has nothing to do with how well the food releases from your blade. Generally speaking, you'll hear people talk about the Tsuchime or Nashiji finishes as being very good for food release. We personally find that that makes not really any difference whatsoever, but we thought we'd put that truly to the test today. So we have 5 knives in front of us, a knife with the Kuruchi finish, a knife with Tsuchime, Migaki, Nashiji, and Damascus, all 5 of the major finishes you'll find in the Japanese knife world. We're going to test them on 2 of the stickiest ingredients that you will find, the potato and the carrot. We'll give them a rating out of 10. And yeah, we're basically just trying to put to test our own theory about knife finishes today. So we're gonna get started with the Kuruchi Gyuto. Here we go. Made by Hatsukokoro's Kurokaze series. I'm gonna do 1 cut right through the middle, and then I'm gonna just do up and down slices with each of the knives on the potato. And this is really obviously just a feel thing. For the most part, all of these finishes, the potato is gonna stick on these for sure. Same with the carrot. I'm sure we're gonna get stuff sticking on there as well. But it'll just be kind of like, and if you know the feeling when you cut like a especially carrots, I find when you cut a carrot and your knife does have poor food release, it's like suctioned on there, like you gotta like pry it off almost. And like I said, I'm gonna try to go just straight up and down here because that's gonna really tell us the most about the food release. When we get any forward or lateral movement, that kind of just like negates everything because, yeah, using more lateral motion is always gonna help with food release. So we're a little bit sticky on this guy. We got some little stickage happening. We were feeling fine on the potato, but on the carrot here, we're a little sticky. I'm gonna reserve judgment to the very end of all 5 knives because it's gonna be hard for me to give us without any reference here. You might be wondering, Gage, you never wear gloves in your videos. Why are you wearing a glove? I burned myself, my fingers look disgusting, so figured cover them up so you don't have to look at them. You were a little sticky here, but nothing crazy, I would say. Like, it is still falling off pretty easily. It's not hindering the ability of the newly cut piece to push the previously cut piece out of the way. So that's a good thing. I have experienced where like you're cutting away with a carrot and it's almost difficult because the piece that you previously cut is so stuck on there that it makes it difficult to cut the next piece. With our rocking motion here, I'm feeling no noticeable like hindrance to being able to cut the ingredient. Well, obviously we're getting pieces stuck to the blade, but I can't even feel that they're on there as I'm cutting through. So, I mean, for our first knife, that felt pretty great. I don't know what I'm going to score this knife until I've tried the other ones out, but that felt pretty good. So let's move on to our Tsuchime, which should feel the best if everyone out there is to be believed. All right, folks, here we are with the Tsuchime finish knife. Let's see if this guy is like considerably better than the Kuruchi. Initial thoughts, I notice no difference whatsoever. Which Jake and I really thought would be sort of the conclusion of this video is that there are so many other factors that go into the food release on your blade. Jake and I would both argue that it has more to do with the blade geometry rather than the finish on the blade, whether or not it's like dimpled or whatever. And this goes to like your scalloped blades as well. Like I've never noticed a huge difference. And when I'm talking about scalloped blades, we have one right here, these guys. And what you'll often hear them say is that, yeah, it makes no difference when you're going up and down. You have to use like lateral motion for the scallops to make any difference. And it's funny because when you use lateral motion with any knife, that's what makes the difference. So it's almost as if they do nothing. Let's try the carrot out, see if it makes any difference whatsoever. I'm gonna argue no, obviously, because with the Tsuchime finish, it's like, you know, it's only up past the bevel, and I find once the ingredient makes it up that high on the blade, it's about ready to come off anyways. But let's see. Oh, see, this is supposed to be the best one, and we've got some stickage happening here. So on our planks, that's always I would say that's the stickiest job. What's the stickiest job, Jake? I would say I've often found planking a carrot has to be like the stickiest job.
Yeah.
The battnet part usually is totally fine.
I feel like the only knife that does better for a carrot, because I used to do a lot of those in one of the restaurants, like a julienne, because mandolins scare me.
Yeah.
I feel like the only knives that did a better job were like thicker knives that had worse geometry.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Like the thicker knives that perform probably the worst at everything else are often the ones that perform best at with regards to food release. And that just goes to like back to the whole edge geometry point that, you know, a thinner laser knife is, generally speaking, in my experience, going to be much stickier than like a workhorsey knife. I personally would much rather deal with a slightly sticky laser than a very food releasey workhorse. I'm not a workhorse guy myself. I'd much rather touch up my laser every once in a while than have to, you know, force my knife through a bunch of stuff with like a more workhorsey knife. So there you have it. Our Tsuchime 180 millimeter Gyuto going through some potatoes and some carrot felt about as sticky as the Kuruchi knife. So right now we're, again, I'm going to wait to reserve judgment or wait to tell you my ratings. But right now I'd say we're at a dead tie between the first two knives. We'll move on to the Migaki, which should be the worst, but we'll see. Here we go. We're gonna keep rolling. We're gonna keep rolling, boys and girls.
Ooh.
Probably mostly boys, but
yeah, mostly. You keep statistics.
Okay, so that was the first knife that when we went through the just through the middle there, that we had some stickage. So I have to, I guess, be honest with myself and you folks at home that this guy is a little stickier right off the bat. But in terms of doing like our little planky boys here, that felt basically the same as all the other knives that we've used so far. I'm gonna make some scalloped potatoes when I get home later today. Excited about that. I will say, I am very impressed with the knives that we've used so far. They are all performing really well at these tasks here. And we do have our Black Friday sale going on right now. So check them out online. Shameless little plug there. I mean, this whole channel is basically a plug to our business, so. Trying not to cut my glove as I'm going. Did I talk about where I'm wearing the glove already? I think I did. No one cares, Gage. Yeah, shut up. Okay, so you know what's funny? So this Migaki Bunka was the only one that got sticky when we were doing the lengthwise like potato cut, and then it's the only one that I felt no planks got sticky on the blade. So what the heck's going on? I don't know.
That convex grind.
It's that convex grind. Jake's probably right. He often is. Yeah, I'm going to say, I'm really digging all of the knives that we've used so far. I'm very proud with the selection of knives that we have at the moment. We have some great stuff. It's taken many, many years to get to a point where I'm like super proud of all the knives that we have in stock. Okay, so far, this knife is feeling like I don't want to say the best. I mean, it's feeling pretty dang good though, man. Okay, got a little out of sorts here on the old brunoise, but it's okay. I'm gonna make. I was telling Jake I'm gonna make some bolognese because I got a bunch of half-price beef at the grocery store the other day, and I got all these carrots now. So I'm like halfway there. All I gotta do left now is get some celery and some onions going. Yeah, feeling about as non-sticky as all the other ones. So I'd say we're at. I mean, like they're all doing certain things a tiny bit better than the other knives are doing things, but it's kind of all evening out in the wash here. I'm finding so far. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have 180 millimeter. We tried to keep things somewhat scientific here. You know, all the same length, but we couldn't even do that. So now we're going to move on to some 210 millimeter Gyutos for the Nashiji and the Damascus, and we'll see if those guys feel any better or worse. My guess is we will notice no difference. Here we go. All right, and I did save the larger potatoes for the larger knives, so give me some credit there. Here we go. Yeah. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Gage might be eating his words here. The Nashiji is very non-stick. Now, we've talked about this already. I think that has more to do with the geometry of this blade. It's the first knife that we've used that is quite a bit thicker at the spine than it is behind the edge. It's got a lot of taper down from the spine down to the cutting edge. So I think that's likely what's helping it more so than the finish on the blade. Would you concur, Mr. Jake?
I think so. I think that Sanjo style tang is just like enough thickness to push things away.
Yeah.
It's like, it feels like it's falling off before it even gets to that point.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's one thing I've noticed. If you can find, if like the Sanjo style knives, so like Yoshikane, the Hinora family, who else is up there? Mizaki-san is up there as well. Like they have a very like sort of distinct style in the Sanjo region where like the spines are quite thick, but they get like the blade geometry is very, very thin behind the edge. And I find these types of knives are the best for food release, but it has nothing to do with the style of finish on the blade. It's got everything to do with the geometry of the blade. Now, but then see, this is like the most sticky we've had a carrot so far. So yeah, like if like I'm gonna have to take some points off there, which is gonna basically even it out with the other knives, right? Like I've kind of said before, like they're good at certain things and not at other things. Yeah, so I'm finding I found it's funny. This guy was the best at the potato. But I think I can confidently say it's the worst in terms of food release for the carrot here. It is one of the sharpest knives. The Yoshikanes are some of the sharpest knives I've ever used, and the food release is nothing that would really bother me, but that's what we're testing for, so I've got to be honest. It's also not, these knives are not great to use in a rocking motion, to be honest with you. I generally wouldn't use them in a rocking motion. When I'm doing this, I usually just do a push. But Jake asked me to do rocking motion for this part, so I do what I'm told until I don't want to anymore. So yeah, there you go. Best on the potato, but worst on the carrot. So basically like comes out even with the other knives. Last knife we're gonna do here is the Damascus 210 from Ryusen Hamono. We'll see how we make out here. All right, last knife, the 210 millimeter Gyuto. Whoa. User error there. Don't judge the knife for that. Look at that. Whoa. Is that foreshadowing what we can expect from the carrot now? Look at that. No stickage. Crazy.
Not to say I called it or anything. I do like these knives a lot.
Yeah, I love the Fukakuryu. I mean, everything from Ryusen is amazing. This guy actually here is a little thicker than... Very little stickage happening. I'm also trying to wipe my knife down because I feel like the potato remnants might make it less sticky for the carrot. Science.
Residual starch.
It's true though. I feel like it would make a difference. So that felt great. That felt really nice. No stickiness. Not super sticky on the back nets here either. Oh, I almost cut. Did I cut my glove? I did cut my glove. Which means a little piece of plastic in my meat sauce now. Oh well. Fix it in post. This is feeling pretty much on par with the Tsuchime, Kuruchi, Migaki that we were doing before. Definitely. Oh, there's the piece of plastic. Definitely feels a little bit better than the Yoshikane. All right, all finished with our 210 millimeter Damascus Gyuto, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't notice a tremendous difference between this knife or any of the other knives we used. I would say the biggest takeaway from this video for me has been how contrastingly different the Yoshikane performed between the carrot and the potato. I was really surprised at how non-stick it felt on the potato, but how sticky it felt on the carrot. Otherwise, all the other knives performed basically exactly the same. So my ratings for all the knives in terms of food release is a solid 7 out of 10. Like
maybe 7.5 on the
maybe 7.5. I don't know. Like, but also saying 7 makes it seem like they have like not great food release. I don't know. I guess food release is one of those ones that we get asked a lot about, but isn't something that I personally think about very much, because if I'm having issues with food release, I just kind of change my technique a little bit and start using more of those draw strokes. So yeah, I would say like if you're shopping for a knife and you're really thinking hard about food release, think less about the finish and think more about the style of blade geometry. These more convex shapes like the by the Hatsukokoro Hayabusa series. This is a little more convex, so it kind of like more rounds into the cutting edge. These are going to be pretty non-stick in my experience. And then anything that's got like this Yoshikane that's got like a really sort of flat, it's more like like almost like a large Scandi grind. These guys can be really sticky on things like carrots, but not super sticky on things like potatoes that are a little bit bigger and allow the thicker spine to sort of push the ingredient apart. So I hope you got some takeaway from this video. We are kind of, like I said, still thinking that the finish doesn't have a lot to do with food release, more to do with the blade geometry. If you have any experience with this, leave a comment down below, and thanks for watching. Stay sharp.